Hello once again to another episode of Draw Go. Today we're going to be finishing up the old slivers. I know I said we would do that last time, but I hadn't yet got to talk to Dakota about how he felt about the Premium Deck Series slivers versus the old slivers. And he said that he would like all of these arts to be used up, and that was his biggest priority. Oh man, useless. But yeah, that was what he cared the most about, was just making sure that those all got taken care of and that we didn't have to skip out on any of this artist's great design. So, now we're super working in reverse, where before we got to choose slivers based on how they looked, or card arts on how they looked, what made them go together really well. Now we have to kind of make some concessions. We're going to go over just how we triage things and what goes into what. Most prominent of these is going to be the Sliver Overlord. It's a 5-color sliver, it's one of the pseudo commanders, it's very important. And I know before we talked about him wanting all of the slivers to be, all of the powerful slivers to be versions of Padparacha. That's sort of changed. He still wants like the powerful common, uncommon slivers to be oh, that's interesting. Padparacha, but he wants this one to be their little mentor, their teacher kind of character. Alright. So this one's also interesting because it has a huge, absolutely massive text box, especially considering that most slivers just have tiny little baby ones. I also am not a huge fan of the old borders coloring scheme. It makes things rather difficult how swirly and kind of random looking it is. But that's okay. We'll work along with it as we do. Again, we'll probably just need to line up. We'll first prioritize this base. Like that. Lovely. That way that looks identical to how it should look. And then we'll just delete. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Parts of this, removing the different layers until it looks nice. It's a little bit too repetitive. Yeah, I mean, it lines up, it looks okay. We just got really big stripes in the middle, which is a little odd, but, you know, the whole card's gonna look a little bit off compared to what a regular Magic card looks like, so we shouldn't care terribly too much. Let's come over, and this one, here he is. I like this one for here, because it looks good. It follows, we'll pull these over here, that way I stop. You don't need to know what my Audacity waveforms look like. Or at least I don't think you do. Maybe you want to. That can be a show in and of itself. I'm sure that, well, there's almost anything for everything. Almost. Which is why I was excited to make this, because there wasn't anything quite like it on the internet. And I've loved making these cards so much as time has gone on. But, okay. So, because this is a 5-color legend, and because this artist did something a little unique with this art, where every other gem, the character was in front of it, on this gem, the character's behind it, so we're going to pull the actual rock forward, and we'll show you how we do that. It takes some time, takes some effort, but you want to zoom in real close, learn what the different pixels distinguish from each other, and just kind of take it in chunks. Holding control lets you add instead of replace, so you don't have to just keep switching back and forth. But just little pieces at a time. Take a strip, and there it is. In this way, we have control over what we're selecting. We have the time to just take it one piece at a time, kind of like how you gotta take life. Just one low day at a time. And want to make sure we grab every little pixel that Delightful Artist has given us. And doing that, we're going to, if anything, you want to play a tiny bit on the liberal side. You want to grab just a touch more, because it's easier to trim back than it is to add on, and it's at least a lot less painstaking. If so far as how I do it, it feels like it. Okay, cool. We may want to get rid of that. We probably don't care, because that's just going to paste over the drawing as is, because we're essentially just lifting this up a layer. We aren't actually going to move it around at all, because there's still a little bit of it emerged there. So we can either add it to this layer or add another layer, and bam! Oh, love it. Look at that rock. And now we have this guy up a layer. Kinda looks a little off. Let me, okay, cool. Never mind. It's perfectly on point. We're good. We're good. It does look like there's a little bit of this gem still right there. I wasn't as liberal as or maybe there isn't. It's just his, yeah, just his little flowing thing. Which, in that case, we'll keep that behind. Alright, cool. And there we have it. Sliver Overlord. One of the 5 colors. Done. Looks good. We may want to... yeah, we'll see what that looks like. There's these little wavy guys in the background here. Go. Oh, that's disappointing too. Okay, there's a lot to consider here. No, I don't like the layering on that, because then it makes it look odd that we don't pop any other part of him out. So he'll be in the furthest background, his gem will be in the foreground, and then the actual borders of the card will be in the midground. So, ta-da! Here it is. Maybe this one? There's an argument to be made that this one could pop out. It just looks barely not. Let's see what it looks like when we do that. Okay, I'll remove both. Just boop-a-doo. Come around the edge here. Got a little bit extra. This is where we want the subtract. So again, control will let us select more. And then negative. Bring it on out. Catch it outside. Roll it on back. All these things and then some. Okay, cool. Go back down to this first layer, copy it, bring it back up to 5, make these layers visible again. See how that looks. Okay. It's so hard. So hard. It does look pretty good. It's just the tiniest of little border breaks, which I think looks better than both of them breaking. And this one still looks like it's in the foremost ground. Yeah, we'll keep it like that. So let's hop back over. Don't need you anymore. And don't need this anymore. So when we're on Skyfall, it doesn't always show the latest versions. It will show the remastered ones, but it won't show the premium deck ones. So the only sliver that really, that's interesting, didn't make it in from, I guess Legions wouldn't be part of it. I'm not as familiar with the concept of the old ones. Anyways, so we'll do an artifact sliver. We haven't done an artifact sliver yet. Especially not an old artifact. I don't think I've ever done one of these. So this will be fun and exciting for both of us. So what makes this one interesting is that this guy basically doesn't have a text box. So if we wanted to, we could make this a full art card. So I guess we might as well do that. Let's go find a nice gray or ooh, that's a decent one. That's a decent one. That's a decent one. Gosh dang. Let's just go to the board. So there was one we found done by this artist later on. I was like, gosh dang, this guy, he's very, he or she is. This one, I want this one for it. Oh, that could be a problem. Could be a problem not because but because this saved version is very small. Let's see what it looks like. Yep, that's a problem. Okay, we'll talk to Dakota about that one again. I told him to scour the internet, see if we couldn't find that black gem. I forget his name. But if we couldn't find a usable version of that. And he hasn't gotten back to me with it yet. That's another thing. If you have any specific arts that you think would be good, or look well, or do all kinds of, yeah, this guy. Or just whatever. If you need like a certain feel or a certain character, certainly tell me about it. It makes things, I mean, if it's just like no good, I'll talk with you about it as well. For the most part, people understand some bit of graphic design, and it isn't just like complete and utter confusion to them, so it shouldn't be so bad. So we'll take this girl in. So, because we're looking at maybe doing this one we're just going to move it about a little. Again, slight distortions. You don't want to go too crazy about moving images up and down, but people will rarely notice. And that's I say you try and fool two people when you're making a fake card. You try and fool yourself, and you try and fool the person across the table. Again, not into believing that this is like a real Black Lotus or anything. I don't think that proxying, especially you're not trying to fool a judge and you're not trying to fool a poor little local game store into believing that what you have is real, because that's illegal. I believe it's plagiarism, actually, but go. Okay, right. To just control not just copy it, we want to cut that boy, so then we don't have to deal with it later. So let's just see how this looks if we just stack this right here. There we go. Line up these little lines. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, that's not bad. We just have an extended base text box, essentially. And then we just need to... So instead of getting rid of all of that space like we did before, we want to have as minimal of a gap as possible. So we'll... Because there's already like a design and stuff. If we can preserve... Oh gosh, English is hard. If we can preserve as much of the original like edging and design as possible, that's great. So come down here, get rid of that. Oh, love it. And then we'll... So to close this gap, we just need a little bit. Like this. We'll call it like that. Copy that. Come up to this layer, paste it. It wasn't nearly enough. Okay. Beautiful. And then we come here and we find where this begins, and we'll copy as much of this as we can. Zoom that out. Sorry, wrong layer. Zoom it out. Paste it in. And then we want to connect there, but that's weird. Okay, let's try that again. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, I see what's happening now. Let's see, we copied the little bit that we pasted, and that's on a different layer. So we'll just do that correct this time. Now we don't have any invisible space, and we can move it on down, connect this up. Again, pixels perfect. And let's see how that looks. Yeah. I don't like how this is that much brighter. Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. Found it. Perfect. Done in one. Love it. Or in two. Let's not get too cocky with myself. Oh, this time we'll call it from up here. And we'll remove the little bottom bit. Want that last little line. Every single little pixel counts. It doesn't really, it won't terribly affect things. But the more accurate we can get, the better you'll be, the happier you'll be with your finished design. Believe it or not. It's kind of how us little humans work. We like things to be uniform. We like things to be nice. We like them to look as attractive as possible. So that's way too small. That's way too small. There we go. That's a bit better. Copy that, paste it in, undo that transformation we accidentally did, and connect it on up. Oh, lovely. And we have a full-on textless card. So it's a very similar method to doing it normally, but we just want to get rid of this real quick. A little bit of the art, the original art lingering right there. background of metallic sliver. This gives us just a big old like feel of, hey, because it doesn't do anything. It's a vanilla creature, and those are the ones that I'm most comfortable doing textless ones on. As humorous as Cryptic Command is, it's hard to know what it does when it doesn't have a box. So I'm just going to speed some things along now. We're going to hopefully get through all the rest of these, and we'll catch you in a little bit. I'll jump in if anything interesting happens. So, I know this is usually like a celebration of art and stuff, but I just want to jump back in here real quick. Horned Sliver is one of my least favorite arts in all of Magic. I really, oh boy, this poor guy. I don't know. There's no background, there's minimal shading, it's a very flat image. Like, it's reminiscent of old Magic, and like, it feels relatively fantasy, but I just, I don't know. Not to bemoan anyone who draws. Like, it's amazing what you do, and I like try to draw and do my very best to improve as days and weeks go on, but I just, golly, if you gave me a couple of weeks, I could produce a Horned Sliver, maybe not even a couple, and I'm me. It's just, oof. It's a rougher one. I'm sure every art is somebody's favorite art, but I feel sorry for the guy whose favorite art is Horned Sliver. It reminds me of, like, pieces of art from, like, Alpha and such. I know there's it has its fans, but like Word of Command is one of the most phenomenally hilarious pieces of art in all of fantasy. Like, I don't really know what it's trying to communicate. I can barely tell. And for those that are curious of why I didn't do it with this one, like why I'm so not harping, but like I try to add in layers as frequently as possible. It's for stuff like this actually, where I forgot to move this up a layer, so now it looks really awkward. And I can't really undo what I have done as easily as I could have if this was on a different layer. So now instead I'm actually going to, how I'm going to fix this, oh dear, is I'm going to copy this boy out and then bring this in on a different layer. Oh, this is so jank. Oh, gang. Okay, there we go. Gosh dang it, I did it again. Alright, now let's try. Copy that out. Paste this in. Now we have to come back to this layer. Highlight this and move it. Down. There we go. Oh, jeez. Ah, gosh. There is endless amounts of mistakes that are being made, and this is the curse of Horned Sliver if I've ever seen. Just this weird, janky, I'm going to say mediocre piece of magic drawing, given me its troubles for how much trouble I give it. Again, I don't want to bemoan any artists. I'm sure it takes a lot of time, but like, time, effort, energy, you know, you get commissioned to draw a thing you might never have drawn or seen a sliver before. This is still way back in Magic's early days. But it even looks like it's got like legs, and it's the thinnest boy around. It's like got weird fur on it, and it's like one of the least pronounced in its adaptations. Like, yeah, it's got these horns, but most slivers have those like horny projections on it. So maybe the horned sliver's just been around the sliver hive forever, and all of them have it now. But there's almost nothing that makes this thing look special. It's just an odd, fleshy, leathery looking sliver. Anyways, hopping back out. And it's a 2/2 at trample. It doesn't even have the comedic capabilities of like 1/1 Swift trample. Those, I like those. Oh man, I already used it up, but this would be another fantastic sliver to be a, what's her face? Padparacha, because that's all she does. She gets knocked out, and then she's dead, basically. Anywho. Whoa. Golly. Whoa, pop back out, leave lives to be lives. We're just, actually, I'll keep talking. So, what makes these ones different and kind of difficult compared to other cards that we've done is that we're not trying to we're not trying to match, like, flavor, feel, or function or anything. All we're doing is basically painting by numbers. This is a gold card, it gets a gold art. This is a green card, it gets a green gem. This is a blue gem, this is a blue card, it gets a blue gem. I really like having a good understanding of the show, and I've been able to hit a couple of them based on just kind of what I've learned from Dakota and from little observations in the arts and drawings and the briefness of the... Oh my gosh, that's so gross. Oh, friends and family, this is a rough text box. Oh, that's so bad. Overlord didn't look that bad. I mean, it's a little distinct, but oh my gosh. Oh, what do you do? Okay. We may just have to slam this all the way down to, like, here? Yeah. Okay, that's a lot less obvious. It's still rough. So what was being bad is there's that weird splashy, like, this bigness. This, almost like a watermark. Looks real awful. Oh gosh. Everything's falling apart on this hibernation sliver. After I dunked on Horn Sliver, all the old slivers are really giving it to me, huh? That's okay. I guess I deserve it. Oh, is that really the design? Wow. This is bad on so many levels. Okay. So we'll go to the replacement tool. We're just going to shave off little bits. That works good. Until, there we go. It pops and it meshes together. Okay. Cool. We'll go back to speeding this. Actually, we'll just call it here. We'll continue on the old slivers another time. It's a lot less than before. We've run into some difficulties. Holy cow. Horn Sliver giving us a bad time. Like Hibernation Sliver, first of the gold ones. Now we know how to handle it, so we'll be able to handle Acid and Spined a little bit easier. Dang. Okay. Well, thank you all for watching. We'll catch you another time.